back, and today I'd like to bring you my winter wrap up. So it's been a few months since winter kicked off, and I'm quite a slow reader, so I decided to do these kind of wrap up videos every quarter rather than every month. It allows me to talk about some more books. Now, it was my most prolific reading quarter, if you want to call it that. I actually read 15 books in this period of time, which for me as a very slow reader was the best I'd ever done, so it was quite good. And we actually kicked it off straight off the back of a real chunky read in War and Peace. We kicked off the winter with Sharpe's Triumph, a great adventure novel. I'm reading through all of these in the kind of chronological order of the character. A very good read. I don't read a lot of new releases, but I saw this book on Petrick's channel that it was coming up, so I thought I'd give it a go, and that was the Dark Souls novel by Michael A. Stackpole. And to cut a long story short, I wouldn't recommend this actually, and if you are curious, there is obviously a review for all of these on the channel. I then went to another chunker, which was Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, a type of novel that I hadn't really read before, kind of the modern military espionage books, but definitely I think Tom Clancy is going to be one that I will get back to in the future now. Next up, one of my favourite authors, another new release. Again, this was a strange start to winter for me, but it was J.R. Tolkien. It was The Fall of Numenor, which was newly edited and put together for a winter release, and Alan Lee illustrations especially very nice in that one. The next up, I was returning to a series of books I've been reading, which is The Witcher. And if you are interested in The Witcher series of books, I will be reading through all of these on the channel over the next year or two. And this was the second book, the short story collection, Sword of Destiny. Then to another author that I've been trying to get to, the Poirot novels. Number 2 was The Murder on the Links. And I thought in some ways this was better than the Mysterious Affair at Styles, maybe if not completely by the end, but the review is up for that one. Next up was a classic that I've said several times on the channel I was really going to get to, and I finally did. This was the Iliad by Homer, and I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. It was a pure prose form, but it worked quite well for me, and I'm glad that I finally got that off, ticked off the list. So by this point, Christmas is over, winter's really starting to hit, the cold weather's here, and I reached for my first Brandon Sanderson, a bit of a comfort read, I would hope. The Final Empire was a really good book, and it kickstarts my Cosmere journey, I suppose. I had been avoiding Sanderson for a while because of all the hype, but I think it was a good time to jump in. And then I also had to get ahead of all of the hype surrounding this book. So I wanted to form my own opinions of Shogun by James Clavell. If I can actually hold it up the right way. Right, Shogun by James Clavell. And, a lot of big booktubers are reading this at the moment, and I really wanted to make up my own mind first. So I decided to get ahead of the curve a little bit and pick up a book that had been recommended to me in Shogun. They just kept coming, the chunky books, and it was time for The Wheel of Time. So I have been really enjoying The Wheel of Time. I liked book 2 more than book 1, and book 3 wasn't a disappointment. The review for this is up, more Wheel of Time action. And then I took part in a reading event, which is not something I usually do. I find, as a slow reader, I find it hard to kind of jump in at last minute to do reading events. But Garb August 1.5, I read a book based on a video game B-movie. So The Strange Brigade is a short story collection I read for Garb August. And, it was surprisingly fun, if not great quality. Another series that I was in the middle of reading is the Wayward Pines trilogy, and Wayward Book 2 by Blake Crouch I felt was a really good way to follow a book I knew would be high quality because I enjoyed the writer's prose. Now, the 11th Cycle is a self-pub, and it comes with a few foibles because of that, and I will be releasing a more detailed review in the next few days for this one. So if you are thinking about reading or picking up the 11th Cycle, it is kind of expensive. I will give you the lowdown in my review. Then another reading event. I can't believe I'm doing another one of these, but Roger Hotep over on Michael K. Vaughan's channel has a cheap old book club, and The Prisoner of Zenda by Anthony Hope is on there. So I read this. This was a quick read and one I could slide in to take part in that. And then finally, just to finish the winter up and finish February up, I went back to Conan, as I said I would. You know, I really wanted to get back to Conan. There are several really good stories in this collection, and the Scarlet Citadel is the next up for me. And I finished this literally today, and it is the final book of my winter reading. A really good winter of 15 books for me. So as a slow reader, I was really happy with that. Please tell me, what is your best ever quarter of reading? How many books did you get through? Are you a slow reader? Are you a fast reader? You know, like a Criminale or you know, someone like that. Okay, cheers.